Lovely eye. Once upon a time, there was a sensible, straight line who fell hopelessly in love with a dot. Oh, you are the beginning and the end, the hub, the core, and the quintessence. He told her tenderly, but the frivolous dot wasn't a bit interested, for she only had eyes for a wild and unkempt squiggle, who never seemed to have anything on his mind at all. But they were everywhere together, singing and dancing and frolicking and laughing.
He's so gay and free, so uninhibited and full of joy. And you are as thick as a stick, so conventional and repressed, tied and trampled, subdued, smothered and stifled, squashed, squelched and quenched.
Come around when you get straightened up, kid. Oh. The squiggle added with a raspy chuckle as he chased her into the high grass. Here is the anguish story of a distraught straight line who falls in love with a frivolous dot. A story destined to take its place among the immortal works of literature. Some may call it a poignant and sensitive evocation of an eternal theme. Others may see it as a sensitive, soul-searching examination of a heart-wrenching dilemma. Or, in these uncertain times, when we seem to stand alienated from the meaning of life itself, is it a shining beacon illuminating the path to some higher understanding? We doubt it. In The Dot and the Line, author Norton Juster argues that with integrity and careful determination, we can do anything. The Dot and the Line, a romance in lower mathematics, by Norton Juster, copyright 1963. White check Jensen. I'm dependable. I know where I'm going. I've got dignity. Oh. But this was all a small consolation to the miserable lion. For each day he grew more and more morose. He stopped eating or sleeping, and after a while he was completely on edge. His worried friends began to notice how thin and drawn he had become, and they did their best to cheer him up. She's not good enough for you.
She lacks depth. And why don't you just find a nice straight line and settle down? They all look alike anyway.
But he hardly heard a word they said, for any way he looked at her, she was perfect. Top, side, front. He saw things in her that no one else could possibly imagine. Oh, she is more beautiful than any straight line I've ever seen. Oh. He sighed wistfully, and they all shook their heads, even allowing for his feelings. They thought this was stretching a point. So he spent his time dreaming of the inconstant Dot and imagining himself as the forceful figure she was sure to admire. The Line as a celebrated daredevil. The Line as a leader in world affairs. The Line as a fearless law enforcement agent. The Line as a potent force in the world of art. The Line as an international sportsman. But he soon grew tired of self-deception and decided that perhaps the squiggly line had it right after all. I lack spontaneity. I must learn to let go, to be free, to express the inner passion in me. But it just didn't make any difference. No matter how often or how hard he tried, he always ended up the same way.
Oh.
But he continued trying. And failing, and trying again. Until at last, he discovered that with great concentration and self-control, he was able to bend and change direction anywhere he chose. So, he did, and he made an angle. And then again, and another, and another, and another, and another, and another, and another. He shouted, much impressed with his efforts. Then, in a wild burst of enthusiasm, he sat up for half the night, putting on an outrageous display. Side, bend, angle. Freedom is not a license for chaos. There and then, he decided not to squander his talents on cheap exhibitionism. For months, he practiced in secret. Soon, he was able to make squares, triangles, hexagons, parallelograms, rhomboids, polyhedrons, trapezoids, parallelepipeds, decagons, tetragrams, and an infinite number of other shapes so complex he had to letter his sides and angles to keep his place. Soon, he was able to carefully control ellipses, circles, and complex curves, and to express himself in any shape he wished. Well, you name it, I'll play it. But all of his success meant nothing to him alone. So off he went to seek the inconstant dot once again. He doesn't stand a chance. Oh. But the lion, who was bursting with old love and new confidence, he was not to be denied. That evening, he was by turns mysterious. Clever, you see. He was complex. He was profound. He was versatile. He was compelling. The dot was completely overwhelmed. She giggled like a schoolgirl. She didn't know what to do with her hands. Then she turned to the squiggle, who had suddenly developed a severe cramp.
Well?
The squiggle, taken by surprise, did the best he could.
Is that all?
I guess so. I mean, I suppose so. Well, you see, I never know how it's going to turn out. Have you heard the one about the two guys who... The dot wondered why she had never noticed how hairy and coarse he was, or how untidy and graceless, or how he mispronounced his L's and picked his ear. Was she mistaken for freedom and joy with nothing but anarchy and sloth?
You are as meaningless as a melon! Undisciplined, unkempt, and unaccountable. Insignificant, indeterminate, and inadvertent. Out of shape, out of order, out of place, and out of luck!
With that, she turned to the line, shyly took his arm.
Do the one with all the funny curves again. Honey.
And soon he did. And soon they did. And lived, not happily ever after, at least reasonably